Welcome back to Perry's Pit on James for Hire. I'm Matthew Perry, and with Will Polston, we are back. Fastlane just ended a couple hours ago, and we are here to review it. It was a big night. Usually Fastlane is one of those pay-per-views. It's the one right before WrestleMania. It typically gets overlooked. People kind of roll their eyes at the thought of it. They just want to get to WrestleMania, and of course, I do too. I actually did get my WrestleMania tickets today. I will be attending, as will RJ, another member of GMs for Hire, will be there, and we'll give you the coverage on that. But Fastlane, we're talking about Fastlane. It was a good show. From top to bottom, there was something that forwarded the storylines, whether the finish of the match or what happened after. Something happened in every match, and it's definitely one that should not be overlooked. There was a very big return, which we'll get into later in the show. But for now, we'll start with the kickoff show in which Riddle defeated Ali for the United States title. He won by a Broderick from the second rope. It was a good match overall. And of course, Will, I'll get your thoughts on it in a second. Good match. I kind of was surprised to see Riddle win. I thought this was finally Ali's time, but it proved what it wasn't. What happened after the match, though, was probably the big point of it, that being Retribution attacking Ali. Will, what were your thoughts on that?
Still trying to figure out what a Broderick is. I've missed it two pay-per-views in a row now, but it's great to hear that there's a new move involved. It's good. I know you're happy to see Riddle finally getting some solid time. I know that's one of your guys.
Yeah.
What you said about what happened afterwards is what's throwing me off more than anything. The fact that this was a kickoff show match and something like that happened. There's a squash match later on in the pay-per-view that totally could have been a pre-show match compared to this. So I don't want to say bad booking, but that's kind of like where I fall, at least in the card placement. It's a decent match. But whenever we're talking about the storyline of what comes up with Ali and Retribution, and then also, with everything like that, it's a better match than one of the matches we have later on. So a little confusing, but happy to see Riddle retain, happy to see everything go on. And I'm interested to see where they're going with Retribution now.
Yeah, Riddle's definitely one of my guys. I was definitely happy to see him retain, even though I wasn't super confident in him. And yeah, this was my only real gripe with the show. I mean, typically I come on these reviews and I have a lot to say about how things could have been different and how could have been better. But honestly, it was a pretty straightforward show. But this threw me off, like you said, not only with the booking, but the fact that uh, it was a kickoff show match. And something like this happened. Retribution turned on Ali. It came out of nowhere. There was no build up to this happening, really. We didn't see on Raw or SmackDown or anything these past weeks of T-Bar and Slapjack or whatever growing tired of Ali's leadership or anything. I think Ali, this has been probably his best kind of thing so far. This has probably been the best chance he's had to succeed. And having Retribution do this does not help anybody here. It makes Ali look dumb. It makes Slapjack and T-Bar look, I don't know, they're still irrelevant. I mean, they really haven't made their mark anywhere. For obviously, we know when Retribution first started. I made a video on this. They sucked. No one liked them. It took talent away from NXT, which I'm not saying needs talent, but there was no reason for Dijakovic and Shane Thorne and all them to move to Retribution and do this. It was pointless. It's pointless. I guess we'll see from here where it goes with Ali. Hopefully he still gets the chance at a US title. I don't know if this is something that'll lead to WrestleMania. Obviously, that's our next step from here, and a lot of these matches help produce WrestleMania matches, but I really don't know what to expect from this. In the end, Riddle picks up the win and retains the title. Moving to the main show, we start out with the women's tag title match. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax defeated Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair via roll-up. Fine finish. It doesn't make Sasha and Bianca look weak, which is good. It keeps the titles on Nia and Shayna, who are okay. Obviously, I'm a much bigger Shayna than Nia fan. Nia's, everyone's favorite liability. But yeah, once again, what happened after this match was most important. Will, first, I'll get your thoughts on the match.
You and I were talking off camera, talking a little bit about how my opinion on shows before WrestleMania, especially, back whenever it was less pay-per-views, we didn't have the brand specific pay-per-views. It was just, we had the 3 pay-per-views. We had the 3 pay-per-view run. We had Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and then WrestleMania. And it's matches like these that I get why they're doing it. Like, you and I talked about it. I understand what the idea behind it is, but I also don't get it, because it's one of those to where the women's division, whenever it comes to the tag division in WWE, is just disgusting. It's terrible. It's Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Nia Jax is a pain to watch in the ring by every stretch of the matter. And Bianca and Sasha are amazing to watch in the ring. Bianca winning the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble back at the pay-per-view. And it just seemed like, you and I have talked about that. We just know it's going to be Bianca and Sasha. And so we already had this preconceived idea that this match was going to happen. I guess it got confirmed today. Like 100%, but it was just one of those to where this didn't feel needed. I don't understand why they continuously put the title holder in the tag team championship run and try to have them do double titles. It doesn't make sense throwing together random tag teams when obviously they're going to feud. It's just the women's division, especially on the tag side of things, needs help. In WWE, because the women's division as singles is phenomenal, second to none. They're great from top to bottom. It's just that who's there to compete right now with Shayna and Nia? It's not even the fact that like these two couldn't win the belts. It's just that it doesn't make sense. If they were to win, it didn't really make sense when Asuka and Charlotte were the tag team champions, and so at least they are kind of an established tag team. They've been there for a while, but this just kind of did it did what it was supposed to do, which is take the next couple steps into Shayna and Bianca. But it was one of those for me. I already kind of expected this match. So for me, this was just another match, really.
Yeah, a little sidebar here because we have breaking news. WWE have announced they are officially releasing Andrade. This past week, he requested his release, and we got news reports that it was denied. But I guess after tonight's pay-per-view, they have decided to go ahead and let him go. Just a little note on that. We haven't seen him since October. We haven't seen him on TV in that long, and he's underutilized. He's still a great performer. Former U.S. champ, former NXT champ. We wish him the best. AEW on the horizon. Who knows? There's only one way to find out. Maybe he'll go back to Mexico. We'll wait and see. But, we wish Andrade the best. Nia and Shayna versus Banks and Belair, though. Everything you said was right. The tag division has potential because the WWE has the best women's division in the world. You just got to put those tag teams together. We've mentioned the Riot Squad. We've mentioned how the Iconics should still be together, et cetera, et cetera. There are plenty of potential tag teams that could be in Banks and Belair's spot, but this match had nothing to do with the tag team division, unfortunately. Kind of buried the tag team division, how they do, but I'm glad that Banks and Belair didn't win it because I've expressed this in the past. I'm tired of seeing singles champs holding tag titles as well, especially when you have this much depth. That's not necessary. Match ends. They lose via roll-up, like I mentioned. Banks is upset with Belair. She slaps Belair. They get into a little scuffle. It adds heat to it because this match is confirmed for WrestleMania since Belair won the Rumble. We will have Banks versus Belair. It needs a little more heat, so hopefully Sasha will definitely be the heel in this match. And I would expect Belair to win at WrestleMania, although we'll see. Who knows? Yeah, the heat needs to be built up, and this slap is a start. So no complaints here. It was fine, and Shayna and Nia retain. Moving to the Intercontinental title match between Big E and Apollo Crews. Apollo now with a newer gimmick, kind of I don't want to say Wakanda style, but I think that's the best way to put it. He comes out with these like soldier looking guys. He has like a staff, a spear.
He leads a militia.
Yeah, it's something interesting like that. I don't know. He's got like a scarf, gives me like Alberto Del Rio mixed with Black Panther vibes. I don't know, but we've been waiting for Apollo Crews to give us something because he's always had the in-ring work. He just never had a gimmick that anyone could really get behind, but he's turned heel. Big E obviously is one of the best baby faces in wrestling right now, and their feud's been really good. This one ended with Big E reversing Apollo's roll-up into his own, getting the 3 count and retaining the title. After the match, Apollo did attack Big E, and it looks like from the way this is going that we will have these two for the IC title at WrestleMania. No real, I think it's too early to tell who comes away with the victory at WrestleMania. I guess we'll have to watch and find out. But, well, what's your thought on this match and this feud as a whole?
To get it moving, I mean, yeah, if you want to continue on with this into WrestleMania, you might as well have it be a cheap victory. It looked like Big E was going to kind of squash Apollo early on in the match. There's a lot of heavy on the offensive side for Big E really early on, and was really giving it to him in the ring. A lot of vocals picked up in this match, just sitting there yelling at each other. But at the end of it, it started to, Apollo started to get some moves in here and there, and it started to become a little bit better of a match. And like you said, Apollo's he's had the athletic ability. He's amazing to watch in the ring if you actually give him a chance. But whenever they were pushing him as a face, nobody wanted to watch him. The guy's not charismatic. The guy's not fun. He's not good on the mic, not really, at least on the positive side of things. And they weren't really having him on the mic back then. And now he's done this whole heel gimmick with his militia and all this, and it's kind of it's a better gimmick. I mean, it is. Some people are better as heels, and I think Apollo is one of these guys. I think he's doing a good job of doing the heel role of things. I think it's definitely where he needs to be whenever it comes down to it. Just the forcing the whole we've seen this with people before. The whole forcing somebody to like. You're gonna like this guy. He's the next big thing. Drew McIntyre was pushed like that whenever his first go around, and he's the chosen one. You're gonna love this guy. Nobody liked Drew McIntyre the first time. He ended up in 3MB. It was a joke, and now he's an actual top headliner WrestleMania kind of guy. So it is what it is. WWE has a weird way of trying to write stories, and some of them flop pretty hard, and that was Apollo Crews early on, but now it seems like they're heading to the right direction. This could be a good match. I think I would personally still like to see somebody else. I'm not the biggest Apollo Crews guy, but it's for the ending that they had, the double roll up or the roll up reverse into it leads it up perfectly for WrestleMania. It's basically a layup. So this just was kind of setting the groundwork. You have this to roll off of, and now it should set up a better match for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Apollo Crews guy either, but this new gimmick's definitely a step up, and I do like how this feud's going with Big E. I think they work well together, face heel, kind of the way they've been going at it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things develop further. We move to probably the lowest point in the show, that being Braun Strowman's segment, I guess you can call it. It's kind of a match. So Elias is performing. And earlier before the show, Shane McMahon was practicing, warming up, whatever, and hurt his knee, I believe, something like that. He comes out on a crutch while Elias is trying to perform and says that Elias is replacing him in his match against Braun Strowman. We're not going to spend too much time on this. Braun Strowman comes out, running power slam. Will falls asleep. 1, 2, 3. Big Dummy gets the win. I mean, hopefully this is over. I'm tired. I like Shane McMahon. I'm tired of seeing him on TV over other talent. I mean, I do this every episode. I feel like, what's Aleister Black doing? He could be in a feud with Braun Strowman. I'd watch that. A black
What's Andrade doing? No.
Getting released, apparently. I mean, he could have definitely been used for this. Andrade versus Braun sounds exciting. Aleister Black would work too. I'd love a black mask to that Big Dummy. I'll watch that any day. I mean, come on. But yeah, Braun defeats Elias via the running power slam. It is what it is. It does nothing. If I see Shane McMahon in a WrestleMania match, I will throw my monitor. We'll see.
This is what I was talking about. This could have easily been a Riddle and Ali match. This has no reason being on the main card. Elias has no reason being on a pay-per-view card. If you need somebody to come out and get squashed, at least throw my boy Jeff Hardy out there, get him some pay-per-view time. Why not just squash him? You do it every other week on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. So why not just throw him out there on a pay-per-view too, just to be a jobber? But it's just, this was stupid. This is so dumb.
A list of names you could have put out there instead of Shane McMahon.
Dumb.
Or yeah, it's exactly that. It's bad, but
I like Braun Strowman. It was just this just didn't make any sense.
I'm not big on Braun Strowman. I don't think he brings anything to the table besides being big, but that's just me.
Big dummy.
Yeah, he's big dummy. We'll move to a step up in the card, that being Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura. Two great guys, two of the best of the business. You know, they've had so many great moments in wrestling, not just here, but elsewhere. They go at it. It's a good match. Seth is definitely kind of taunting Cesaro. Shinsuke, obviously Cesaro's old partner. They were tag champs together, and you kind of get some references to Cesaro and all that. Seth is trying to make Cesaro a follower of his. He's still the Monday Night Messiah, or is he on Fridays now? Ooh, he might be the Friday Night Messiah. I got to double check. I
The
haven't watched.
Messiah.
He's the Messiah. They're trying to get Cesaro to follow him. I think there's a point where he tries to do like the Cesaro swing, which is kind of cool. It winds up ending in a curb stomp though, and Seth picks up the victory, kind of proving something to Cesaro, trying to still get him to join. This is definitely a push for that kind of feud, and I do think this is something that can go to WrestleMania, whether it's Seth versus Cesaro or maybe even a triple threat match. I think that'd be a very good match. These are three great wrestlers. I know Cesaro wasn't in this match, but since he's involved in the storyline, three great wrestlers. I'd be really excited for this match if it goes through at WrestleMania. But let me get your thoughts on all this.
Yeah, these two put on a great match. I mean, these are two of the more entertaining people in the ring when it comes to the business, at least in my opinion. These are two very overlooked wrestlers a lot of the time. Shinsuke's had a weird kind of career in the WWE, yet been pushed all types of weird directions. NXT, then back to the main roster and everything. And this whole Messiah gimmick for Seth Rollins is different, and I think it's not what I'm used to. I'm used to burn it down, Seth Rollins, but this will work for now, I guess. But it was a good match. Like you said, these are two very entertaining guys, and Cesaro would also be a very entertaining asset to add to a triple threat match at Mania. If you want to lay that up in WrestleMania, I don't see a problem with it. I think it'd be interesting. It's just one of those to where with no titles, it's just going to be a match. But I mean, there is the storyline with Cesaro and Rollins, so I guess that's there. But it's just one of those to where, like, it's WrestleMania, and now with it being 2 nights, I understand there's going to be more matches and everything. So, luckily, you'll get to see it firsthand. So we'll see exactly what happens there with that. An interesting match, but a good one. It was actually, from an in-ring standpoint, a very good match.
I think you could agree, though, that if this Seth and Cesaro thing goes through and Cesaro maybe eventually becomes a follower of Seth Rollins, this could really help Cesaro. Obviously, for years, he's been a great talent. He can talk, he can work. He just doesn't seem to get the time that everyone else gets, and it's really not fair. But, I mean, the WWE is so deep in talent that it's tough to get everyone out there. I mean, there's wrong choices like Elias that go out there more often than others, but getting Cesaro out there more, I don't see any way that could go wrong. So,
no, and he just signed a new contract too, so he'll be around. Yeah. Typically whenever they sign a new contract, they find a way to get him in at early, especially early on in that contract. So don't be shocked to see Cesaro join. Honestly, I would not be shocked to see that happen. It'll be interesting. Cesaro is one of those guys who's been around for a little bit now. Not as long as Kofi by any means, but he's been around the business for a minute, and he deserves a little bit of a singles push, whether that be as a heel or a face, however he wants to go around it. I mean, I think it's time to get another belt on Cesaro.
Speaking of Kofi, we actually got word during Fastlane that confirmed for WrestleMania, we have the Raw tag titles on the line. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston as the New Day will defend the titles against AJ Styles and Omos. He will make his in-ring debut at WrestleMania. So that should be a fun match. I hope Omos is ready, and I hope he doesn't look like a big dud out there, because it could be exciting.
He could be another big stupid dummy.
And I don't think AJ Styles has won a tag title yet in WWE. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think when he was part of what was it, with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, I think they held them. Yeah, but
I think Gallows and Anderson had it, but I don't.
Yeah, but that didn't count for Styles. He was just their.
Yeah, Styles has always been was like WWE push as soon as he got there.
So this could be a good change of pace for Styles. I like still seeing him in the mix, and I'm looking forward to the match.
We'll see what Omos can do.
Yeah, that should be exciting as well. Next, we had Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, the best of frenemies. Finally, hopefully ending this feud. It's been here and there. It's been touch and go. The storyline behind it is kind of unclear. It's, they were tag teaming one week and next week they're punching each other backstage, and it's been all over the place. I mean, I'm ready for this to be over. And Sheamus tweeted before the match that this was his WrestleMania. So hopefully this means that I don't care if he has a match at WrestleMania, but hopefully that means this is the end of the feud. Drew won as expected. He's heading into his match at WrestleMania against Bobby Lashley. He beat Sheamus with the Claymore. This doesn't really do anything for WrestleMania, but I guess Drew looks strong moving forward. I don't know. What were you thinking about this?
Honestly, from an in-ring standpoint, maybe my match of the night.
Really?
Like I really enjoyed watching the match, at least from that standpoint. I think you're right. Whenever we say this is the end of the feud, I mean there were just kendo sticks everywhere. It was, and I'm one of the guys who doesn't like to be, wrestled down to the ring. I like a little bit of the more extreme side of things. I like to get out in the crowd, do stuff like that. Getting up in the monitors is always fun. Especially with no stands, it's still kind of, or no fans, it still kind of gives you a feel as if they're out in the crowd and they're doing it, even though, nobody's patting them on the back and everything, nobody's throwing drinks and popcorn into your face or whatever the case. But, it was more entertaining for me. This is kind of my speed of match. A very good in-ring performance. The white noise through the table was awesome for me. I love that kind of stuff. And so this was awesome. The Drew drilling the kendo stick right into Sheamus's eye was entertaining. I also just thought like it was a good match. And yeah, the storyline's been a little bit of here and there. It's been kind of all over the place, but I think this was a nice ending point. I think now Drew can finally go focus on Lashley. We'll get that match at Mania, and that'll hopefully be built up here on Raw and SmackDown here coming up soon, and we can push that because that's going to be an amazing match if they can pull it off right. Drew deserves his Mania moment, but hell, Lashley's been along just as long, if not longer. So it's one of those to where both deserve a great match, and both are at peaks of their career so far. So it'll be interesting to see, and I'm really excited for that match at Mania.
Yeah, it's key. I should have mentioned Drew and Sheamus. This match was no holds barred, so that explains all the kendo sticks and everything. I will admit I'm more of a traditional kind of guy, maybe a hint of extreme mixed in. I don't like too much of it. I don't need a bloodbath to have a good time. I know that. Yeah, I know that's more your speed, but yeah, hopefully this is over, and I am really looking forward to Drew and Bobby. I think it's for what these two men have been through in the industry, leaving WWE, returning. They've been around a long time, and it's going to be one hell of a match. I have respect for both guys, and I don't think, no matter what happens in this match, I'm pretty happy with the result. I think both guys deserve that Mania moment, and I hope, yeah.
Even speaking on today's match, like Sheamus and Drew are good friends outside of, they've been good friends for a long time. They came up together. And so they just have decent in-ring chemistry whenever it comes down to it anyway. I think they put on a great match almost every time I watch them. Sheamus is typically a guy who's known in the locker room to be a little stiff and not sell and everything, but he puts on a good show with Drew. At least maybe it's just a chemistry thing. Maybe he only sells for people he likes. I'm not too sure. Don't know the guy. But yeah, I mean, honestly, this was probably definitely not the most entertaining part, but the most entertaining match in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll move to the most entertaining part.
100%.
And that is the match. I'll put match in air quotes between Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. I mentioned at the top of the show that there was a return, and there was. The Fiend is back. I'll get straight to it. Sorry, I couldn't hold the excitement. The Fiend is back. This went very, very well in my opinion. I was afraid they were going to find a way to mess this up. The special effects were here and there. There was a little bit of fire, a little bit of movie magic for this. Definitely some cuts. It wasn't live like they said it was, but with no fans, you can work that to your advantage. Alexa Bliss does this really well. Her role, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, it's scary. It's almost scary how well she fits that role of. What do you have words for what this role? I don't know what to call it. It's
like a sidekick. She's she's almost playing like a medium. Like she's almost like speaking with the dead and being the the I guess like the middleman for the Fiend, like the new embodiment of the Fiend. It's nuts. But she plays it really well. So honestly, if you don't have any storyline for her in the women's division, you're using her perfectly, because I don't even need to see her in the ring. Like right now, it's one of those things to where I guess she's a manager. I don't know. It's a weird. She's more just kind of like a sidekick, like I said, but it works out. It works out really well. The whole Randy Alexa thing has been kind of overdrawn, because obviously you're waiting for the return of the Fiend. We all knew it was coming. It was just when. And then we finally got it. I think it's right on time. You got enough time to set up a little bit of return heat before WrestleMania, and hopefully we'll squash the two at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we're definitely getting towards the end of this feud. I'm very excited for it. Let's talk about the Fiend's new look, because he comes out of the ring hand first. What do I call this? Kane style, maybe. Grabs Randy's ankle, scares Randy a bit. Comes out from behind. What do you want to call it? He's burnt to a crisp. It's more of a zombie kind of look almost. It'll be in our thumbnail, so you'll see it. And I'll probably have something here, but it is. If you thought the Fiend couldn't get scarier, it got scarier. He looks fantastic for the role he's playing, and really, I have no complaints anything about this. He comes out, Sister Abigail's Randy, Alexa just basically sits on top of Randy, gets the 1, 2, 3. Alexa Bliss is in Randy Orton's list of losses, which is something I thought I'd never say. But this was amazing. The Fiend is back. I'm really excited to see where this goes from here, because where does this go? We're about 20 days out from WrestleMania. There has to be something to fill the time. So, that'll be interesting.
I feel like this is going to be one of those things where we can't see the Fiend. Like, I think you need to build the suspense of the Fiend, because right now, like you said, the Fiend came out. He came out from underneath the ring, and he's all boiled up. He's all burnt. Like his skin is literally bubbling from the special effects makeup they put on his arms and stuff. He looks fantastic, and way more demonic than he did, which I didn't know was possible. But he looks terrifying. Even the white eye, the one white eye, and then the one red eye, like it's done perfectly. So props to everybody in WWE coming with this. But I think you need to build the suspense still. We had the Fiend come back. I think it's time to play mind games until WrestleMania. Don't put the Fiend in the ring. Don't do it. Give me some Firefly Funhouse. Bring that back. Get Bray Wyatt back on screen. Give me some more Alexa and Randy Orton mind games. Give me the small stuff you were giving me. Really hone it home. Just don't spit out more black stuff. Don't know what that was. But otherwise, he's back now. We don't need to beat around the bush. Whether Orton's walking down the hallway and then all of a sudden Orton walks off camera, you see the Fiend just in the back, like hiding. Like, just make it like a stalking presence, or like just the mind games and everything like that. If you can just hone this in for WrestleMania without putting him in the ring, it's gonna really intensify this match a little bit, because everybody's gonna be like, well, when's he gonna go? When's he gonna go? We know he's back now. When's he gonna get in the ring? And obviously it'll build up to WrestleMania. And we'll see Bray Wyatt, who's been amazing. He's done the character so well. He's been great in the ring, just phenomenal with this character. By far, one of the coolest. Not a lot of people play multiple characters in their career. I mean, you can think of a few. Obviously, there's Broken Matt Hardy. There's Widow for Jeff Hardy. There's Ryback and Skip Sheffield. People do this more often than you think. This is by far the best execution of this, of playing multiple people, between going from Husky Harris to the Wyatt family and being the eater of the worlds to the Fiend. Like, it's so good. It's amazing. I'm so glad he's back. I loved the Fiend at first. I feel like they used him in the ring a little too much as the Fiend. If they wanted to do a little bit kind of like Finn Balor style, where you have Bray and then you have the Fiend, I get it. That'd be awesome, because we still do have Bray in the Firefly Funhouse. So it's not like he's gone. It's just like he's just different now. But yeah, don't let the Fiend get into the ring until WrestleMania. Build it up, Firefly Funhouse, just promo the hell out of it. And let's just prepare for a WrestleMania because we need that. And keep Randy out of the ring too. Just let them feud. Just let it happen.
I would kind of like to see. You remember back in the day when Triple H showed up to like Randy Orton's house and they started brawling?
Yeah.
Since Randy burned down, I'm guessing it was the Wyatt family home or whatever in their feud a couple of years ago. I would like to see the Fiend start getting a little personal leading up to WrestleMania, adding to this, Randy, I'm pretty sure Randy's wife, I don't know about his kids. I know Randy's wife has been in a storyline at least once. I mean, he's been here forever. Go to the home, do something. I know COVID's going on, so I'm sure there's restrictions in where you can go, but Orton has a house in Florida. He can't be that far. To go do something, make something happen to add to this, kind of match the energy that Randy gave when he turned on Bray a couple years back. Tie it in, make it fit together, because I think that would raise the stakes and make it even better at WrestleMania. Obviously, we will most likely have the Fiend versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I think it's almost confirmed at this point, although not officially. We know. When you know, you know. So,
and even if there was something like Orton's coming back into his locker room and he just has like a duffel bag in front of his locker that's on fire. It'd just be like small little mind games like this to just add to it. Literally add fuel to the fire. Like play off of this whole flame thing, the Inferno match, because he is gross. Like the Fiend is ready to go, and it just needs to be mind games from here on. Like just really just drive it into Randy's head, because now, he was all thrown off from seeing the Fiend get burned alive, and that was supposed to be jarring for him. Now flip it. Now he's seen the Fiend back after he's been burned. Keep playing that line. It's working. Keep drilling that in his head, and it's making Orton seem more human and not like, animalistic and just like the Viper. He's Randy Orton. He's just a person at the end of the day. And it's cool, like humanizing Orton a little bit. I love what they're doing with the storyline. And they can pull it off right. I just don't want to see, I don't need to see matches on Raw with the Fiend. I don't need to see matches with Orton and Fiend leading up to it. Don't give me that. Give me the big payoff at WrestleMania, build it up, and we'll go from there. If you want to CGI a house on fire, if you want to CGI the Fiend, or if you want to get Orton's wife and Sister Abigail, his wife, I don't care what you're doing. Just build it up. Build up the storyline, and we'll worry about in-ring at WrestleMania.
Yeah, storyline building is definitely most important for this. This will be my first WrestleMania. This will be my first WWE live event in person, WrestleMania. So
You've never been to a Raw or a SmackDown or?
No, I thought you knew that.
I thought you told me you've at least been to. I thought you said you've been to like one show.
The AEW shows that I went to in December, you can catch that vlog.
This is your first WWE event. You're going to WrestleMania.
Yeah, this is my very first WWE.
Paid for it themselves too, folks. Not to be overlooked.
Yeah, this was a gift from me to me. I did this myself, but the Fiend's entrance, probably one of the most I'm excited to see. Music is definitely a big thing for me, and that adds to the atmosphere. The Fiend's entrance is going to be special.
I wonder if he's going to come out to the same music, because they just played Alexa's song afterwards. She won the match, but
I think he will come out to his music. I think, because it was her match. They played her music, but maybe they intensify his music even more if they somehow could.
What'd be cool is what if he comes out with his lantern instead of the Bray? It's the old Fiend mask now.
That could be something.
Or it's Orton. Oh, can you
imagine? If it's Orton's face, that's mind games. Seeing your own face in a lantern, dude. Oh,
your eyes stitched shut and your mouth wide. Oh,
now you're thinking. You gotta go apply for that writer position.
Yeah. Hey, I'm hitting you up, WWE. We got another match to cover, but I got an email to send after this.
While he sends that email, we'll move to the main event, which kind of fell apart at the end. But it was the Universal title match between Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. Edge was the ringside special enforcer. The winner of this match would be confirmed to face Edge at WrestleMania. We'll get straight to it. Reigns retain the title. So it will be officially be Reigns versus Edge at WrestleMania, which is, I think, what everybody wanted for the most part. We'll talk about the end, which was the most important part. Everything else was fine. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns know what to expect. You expect a good match, and a good match is what you got. Good back and forth. Daniel Bryan winds up missing what you explain this, because I know you got to see this part more than I did.
Yeah, so there was Bryan was going for the knee, ends up Roman Reigns ducks and knocks out the ref. Well, Reigns hits him with a Superman punch and goes for the pin. Well, that's when Edge comes in as the special guest ref. Later on, some things happen here and there. Jey Uso comes out, super kicks Bryan and Edge, and it just turns into chaos, really. And then, another running knee into Uso. Uso went and grabbed a chair to go knock out Bryan, but Bryan did a running knee into the chair, into Uso's face. Then the chair starts getting passed around. Bryan takes some swings with it, and he goes to hit Roman. Roman ducks again. Second time in the match, he hits Edge, and then Edge comes up and goes absolutely ballistic. He just started wailing on everybody, and he loses his temper during the time. During the downtime, Roman had actually gotten the upper hand on Daniel Bryan. He went for a spear, but Bryan catches him, throws him in the yes lock. There's a point in which there's no ref, no Edge, no ref, no nothing. And you can see Roman tapping a little bit. You think, oh yeah, he's tapping. It's the new champion. That's when Edge gets involved and starts swinging chairs on everybody. It was one of those, it was like, okay, great. Don't worry about the end of the match. Beat the hell out of everybody. Eventually he leaves, new ref comes out, and that's literally the end of the match. After the couple of chair shots, Edge gets a couple into everybody. Roman literally just crawls over to Daniel Bryan and pins him. And it was like, that's it. It was like, okay, like they both got hit with a chair. Why is this not affecting Roman as much? And it was one of those to where I talked to you off camera about it. We talked about Edge at a point earlier on in an earlier at an earlier show had speared Roman Reigns and pointed at the WrestleMania sign. We know that those two were going to fight. We knew that those two were going to be in a match at WrestleMania. You said, don't be shocked if Daniel Bryan finds his way in there, which he might. Obviously, after seeing that ending, it's not far-fetched by any means. But it's one of those to where, and this is why I have a gripe with the shows before WrestleMania, is that the title's not going to switch hands. The storyline's going to go into it. We knew when Lashley won. We knew, honestly, you and I called it beforehand. Once, I think we even called it on the Elimination Chamber video, that Miz was not going to be the champion. It was going to be Lashley, because Lashley came out and beat the crap out of everybody. And then it was going to be Lashley and McIntyre. And that left Edge to, by default, end up with Roman Reigns. And then he came out and speared him on a SmackDown, I think it was, pointed at the sign. It's basically confirmed there. You're not going to be like, oh, Daniel Bryan wins. Now it's Daniel Bryan and Edge. Especially when's 2 weeks, 3 weeks before WrestleMania. It wouldn't have made any sense. So, for me, I just have the personal gripe because I feel like I already knew the outcome. I said there was literally a 0% chance Daniel Bryan's going to win this match. He might find his way into a WrestleMania match with the two, but it was one of those to where I knew Roman was going to go in with the belt on. So,
yeah, the biggest thing to take from this match is that neither Bryan nor Reigns nor Edge looked weak with this result. Reigns definitely took a beating with the chair. He didn't. I want to clarify. He didn't actually pin him. He didn't lift a leg. He literally crawled over and
fell on him.
He tossed his own body on top of Bryan and got the 3 counts. So
he looked really exhausted afterwards.
Yeah, Bryan and Reigns definitely took the beating. I don't want to sell that short, but so we don't know where we're really going from here for this match. Obviously, we know Reigns and Edge is at WrestleMania. Whether Bryan gets added, like we said, we don't know, but it could happen. Don't really know what's next for Bryan. Is he still going to try to get his way in here? I don't mind him. I still think Bryan's fantastic.
Is this his last run, right? Didn't he say once his contract's done, he's done?
Yeah, he said he's gonna focus on being a dad once his contract's up. Obviously,
Typically comes up
Him
around
and Brie,
WrestleMania, but
yeah, him and Brie have 2 kids now. So, I mean, this could be his last Mania. Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. We hope we get what we want out of this. I don't know what we want. Edge to win, right? We want Edge to win at WrestleMania.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean,
If he's
complete.
going to be a full timer, yeah.
You got to complete the comeback, right? I mean, he never lost the World Heavyweight title that became the Universal title, so this only makes sense. What I think would be cool. I've never been a big fan of the Universal title. It looks too similar to the WWE title. He wins the title and brings back the big gold, and
Oh, the world heavyweight.
yeah, and complete. I don't know. I don't know. I guess that
I thought
title's
you
off
were talking the
everybody.
spinner belt.
Oh no, not the spinner, but the world heavyweight title. You know that Ric
Yeah,
Flair
yeah.
made big, and I've always been a big fan of that one. It's basic, but it's legendary. It's iconic.
It's
So
got a cooler look to it. It's better than a corporate logo on a plate, on a
yeah,
strip of leather. It's more different, I should say.
yeah. So although I don't think that's likely, I think it'd be cool, especially since that's the one he last held and had to give up. But well, that remains to be seen. Next, yeah, moving forward, we have WrestleMania. Nights 1 and 2 are April 10th and 11th. I will be there. RJ will be there. Will be keeping up with it. But we don't know what we're doing yet. I don't plan to vlog it just since it's a big event for me. I kind of want to soak it all in. But you'll definitely get pits for each one. You'll get a review after each night. We'll bring that to you, as well as any other thoughts on anything else. If you want to hear more news and stuff like that, promotions for videos of ours, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. The links are down in the description. Check that out. Follow us. Our personals are through there. You can find them. Do what you want with them. But for Perry's Pit, James for Hire, I've been Matthew Perry, and that's Will Polston. And we'll see you guys next time.